21.2 repeat. This is a fun fire breather. Let's go through the things. So I'm gonna start with decide which type of workout is, then some mindset strategy, and then we finish with the specific technique and strategy points for both movements. First point, you need to know which kind of workout you are against and which kind of workout you're gonna perform, because that's gonna tell you how to act, right? So what you saw in the announcement is these people are working out at 10 to 12 minutes. That for them at competition level and pushing really hard is really a sprint. I know we usually say sprints are under 5, but for those guys pushing hard, you know, like because it's competition, then they're going 100%, they're going at sprint pace, and they can do that for 10 minutes. They couldn't do that like every day of the week for every workout, but because it's the open and they can, that's a sprint pace. Most likely you're gonna be in the 10 to 15 or in the 15 to 20, depending on if you're choosing scale or RX. Most likely you're gonna be in 15 to 20 range, right? Like, and knowing that is very important, because a 15 minute to a 20 minute workout is a 5K. A 10-minute workout, it's a mile run, and those are two very different physiological effects. So the first thing that you need to decide is where you are, is where you're gonna fall, and you need to be very realistic about that, right? Like, we all have a desire there. We all have to differentiate between where we would like to be. I would like to be in the 13-minute range. I don't know if I would like to be in the 10-minute range. That probably will hurt way too much. But I would like to be there. Is that realistic for me? No, right? And so I have to be, based on the data that you have, decide where you think you're gonna fall. Most people will fall in the 15 to 20 minute range, right? That's a long workout. So with that in mind, you're gonna go into your strategy, how we're gonna approach this. The first thing that you have to do here is don't fall in the trap of the breakup scheme, right? Like, most people, most CrossFitters, the beginner CrossFitter, the intermediate CrossFitter, believe that a breakup strategy is a plan. A break strategy, you know, like how you're gonna break up the sets and reps, is a whim, it's a desire. It's something that I would like to, you know, like to happen, but it's most likely not going to happen unless you're an athlete that knows yourself very well and have enough data points and have done that workout several times, so you have enough information to know if your breakup strategy is actually very accurate. For most of us, a breakup strategy there is going to be a little bit of a whim, a desire, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have one. Totally, you want to have one. It just means that you don't want to make it the goal of the workout, because what will happen if that's the goal of the workout? As soon as if it starts not going your way, your brain is gonna feel like you lost the workout, right? And so that's not where you want to be. So have a breakup strategy and then decide the plan. Let me give you an example. So the way I approach this, I love dumbbell snatches, but I broke them in sets of 10, right? And I decided that my strategy would be the following. I am gonna start the burpees as soon as I put the dumbbell in the ground, and then I'm gonna start the first set of dumbbell snatches as soon as I finish the burpees, and I'm gonna take some breaths in between the sets of snatches. That's something that I can control very, very well, right? And the other part of my plan was on the burpees. I am going to commit to not stop, and I'm going to commit to my pacing. We'll talk about that in a second, about the technique, but I'm going to commit to that. Even if I have to slow down, I'm gonna stay with my 1, 2, 3 jump, 1, 2, 3 jump, and I'm gonna stay there super conscientiously and awful. And when I feel like, oh, I want to stop, I really wanna break, I'm gonna remind myself, you're gonna finish this set, grab that dumbbell, and as soon as you finish the repetition 10, you put it down, and then you breathe. Good, so that was my breakup strategy there, like that was my plan there. So why did I choose 10 on the dumbbell snatches? The 50 for me is a little bit less than 25% of my snatch. So sets of 10 are very, very attainable, and I have done enough workouts so that I know that I can always get a set of 10. I could, like when I finished today, I was like, maybe I could have done sets of 15 and push it a little bit, push the rest a little bit, but given my time and given that my strategy went very well and that I actually had a little bit of oomph at the end, it told me like, no, you were probably just right. I didn't slow down the cadence on my burpees that much. I didn't slow the cadence of my dumbbell snatches that much. right? And so that told me like my strategy was pretty accurate. But more importantly than that is that I control all my breaks, and I had the brain capacity and the physical capacity to actually look at the clock and not let those breaks be more than 5-10 seconds, right? Like, so I had that composure, and that tells me not that I'm very good at willpower or like I have a very big dick. It tells me that I pace it well for myself, so I put myself in a good situation. So remember that a plan is not a strategy. It's not a breakup strategy. A breakup is important. It's important that you have it. That's not your plan. Which tells me, brings me to the last point here on the plan. Know how to respond if the break strategy is not gonna work your way, right? Like, so what I said to myself is like, I can always keep going on the burpees. That's not a problem. I just slow them down, step it up, whatever I need to do to keep going. So that was my plan, right? And so I knew if it was hitting me too hard, I was gonna step forward, step to the jump to the box, step down, like just slow it down, keep going. I can't. Everything falls apart. I can keep doing that. And if the tens was gonna get too difficult, what I was gonna do was gonna go by feel. As soon as that happened, and you know, like when a dumbbell snatches gets too difficult, it's not because you're breathing too hard, it's because the arm is giving up, right? And so if for whatever reason my arm was gonna start give up, I was gonna go by feel, and by feel I mean I'm gonna alternate, and before I start feeling that the arm is gonna shut, I'll stop, breathe, control the rest, and then keep going, right? Like, so that was my main plan, and that's what I recommend you doing, right? So have a breakup strategy and have a very clear set of lists of how you're gonna respond, how you're gonna act in the workout. It's not like saying sets of 10 is a win. Knowing how to act, deciding that beforehand is crucial for this workout, right? So that's thing number. That's the first part. Okay, let's go through the mindset now. This is a workout that requires most than anything grit. It is a grit workout. It's how bad you want it. So, because it's about that, you have to have the answer of that question before you start the workout. How bad do you want it, and why do you want it? If you don't have that ready, if it's just a workout and all you care is about the leaderboard, you're gonna fall, right? Like, if that's not, I mean, I don't know if it's strong enough. It has to be strong enough for you, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's strong enough for you, find it and remind yourself of that, because at one point you're gonna have fire breather and you're gonna want to rest, right? And so the mindset here is, what's the source of my grit? Where am I gonna grab from? Where's my cookie jar, right? Like, and when I'm gonna bring the cookies out, right? And so have that ready for you. Thing number one. Second thing, in terms of mindset, your brain already has you already have all the answers when your brain is bringing you negative thoughts. I already have given you like the ways to get there. Now let's look at the physiological aspect of the thing and look at the mindset that corresponds. So it's a 20-minute workout for most of us, like 15 to 20 minutes, right? So it's easy to panic at the beginning and try to cram as much work as you can at the beginning. That's a mistake. You are in a long endurance event, and pushing the limits in the first 10 minutes is not gonna make the last 10 minutes easier. It's gonna make them a lot harder. It's gonna make that your capacity, instead of being here, is gonna be here. So you're just gonna go like this. Of course, you're always gonna go down in a workout. What we want is that you go down the least, right? So it's better to start a little bit lower and keep going like this than start really high and go down hard. Think about the area under the curve there, right? And so with that in mind, don't panic. Do not panic. Stay true to your strategy. Remind yourself, when I get to the 10-minute mark, that is when I have to push, not before. And when you are in the 10-minute mark, you're gonna be probably already finished the sets of 30 snatches. You're gonna, it's gonna be hitting you. And at that point, you're gonna realize like, oh fuck, I have a lot of dumbbell snatches ahead of me still, right? And so you wanna be ready for that fight. One thing that I want you to have ready is that grit. When you get to the second half of the workout, I want you to have your games. That's when you bring the game phase, right? That's when you put it on, and then that's when you push. So remind yourself, when that hardship got at the 10-minute mark, you're like, okay, now we unleash the beast. Now I smile. When shit is gonna get hard and you're gonna be breathing hard, that is your trigger. to go. Okay? But that is only gonna be possible if you don't go crazy at the beginning by panicking. Most people will panic and so will be like, I'm gonna do the 20 unbroken, I'm gonna do the 30 unbroken. Sure, you can. You absolutely can. There's zero doubt in me that you can. Well, I don't know you, but most people will go there. That's a panic decision, and then on the second half, when you got the 40s, you start breaking to set of 5, 6. There's no strategy, there's no brain. You're kind of fucked, right? So those are the two mindset points, right? Like, where is the source of your grit gonna come from, and when to unleash it. 10-minute mark. Awesome. Let's talk about the movements. So this workout, because it's great and because it's so mental, and you're gonna be breathing hard, right? Like your heart rate is gonna go high from the beginning. Make peace with that, because that's gonna happen. What I want you to be is super fucking methodical. I want you to have the steps in your warm-up. I want you to have exactly nailed down to the minimum movement the burpee jump overs. Let me show you what I think will be most useful for all, and I'm not gonna give you 700 options. You can decide but the logic is the same. So I think this is what's gonna be most useful for both. So have the box there. You're gonna be very close to the box at all times. Go down, right? You're gonna step up, and I want you to mobilize very well before the workout so that you can step really forward, right? So you're gonna step up so that when you're here, you can stand up and jump, right? Like, if mobility is an issue for you, mobilize more in your life, and then you're gonna have to maybe do 2 steps. But if you're good, you're gonna come here, step, big step, then you're here, right? So that's 1, 2. I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna start here, 1, 2, jump, whoops, don't fall, right? And as you see, I started the rotation. You can go like full 90 degrees. You don't need to, right? Just a little bit of rotation. Jump, 1, 2, you're in the same position that you were there. Feet to the ground, down, repeat. 1, 2, jump, 1, 2, the ground. 1, 2, Florence Barks. You know that a video without Florence is not a fun video, but that's it, right? You can be very, very methodical there. It's gonna pay out immensely, because when you are focusing on just that, there's no space in your brain to think how tired you are, which is fundamental. Variations that what will start happening, that you're gonna start cutting it short, so you're gonna have to start jumping, thinking, keep the scheme, even if you slow down, even if you rest here, it doesn't matter. Keep the scheme, it's gonna help you immensely. So I was doing this, 1, 2, jump, 1, 2, ground, 1, 2, jump, 1, 2, ground, 1, 2, that's it. Super control, right? Very, very simple. There's no gain in jumping the feet. Absolutely not gain. Unless you're in the 10 to 15 minute mark, again. And if you're there, awesome. But if you're not, there's no gain. You're not going faster. You're making the movement a lot harder on the core in a workout that is very heavy breathing, right? So you don't want that. So that's the first thing for burpee jump overs. Again, there's variations, right? And so you can jump straight forward, rotate, you can think about if you want to stay low or not. Those are things that are marginal gains that are important for the professional athlete that has the capacity and everything nailed down. But for the 15 to 20 minute athlete, the big picture interventions are what's gonna are what matters, not the marginal gains. You're not in the game of shaving 1 rep. You're in the game of big impact efficiency, so that you can maybe finish, right? And so don't worry too much about it. In your warm-up, do what feels comfortable and what is going to allow you to have a methodical cadence, right? That's it for the burpee jump overs. Good. Let's talk about double snatches. This time We don't have to switch the bell mid-air. We can switch it when air. That changes complexity. If you have done that and practiced that, that is what you should do. It doesn't matter. The switching in the hand adds movement. It doesn't really slow you all that much down. It just adds complexity and you lose engagement on the hamstrings on the pull. Right, so change mid-air. The easier way is to drop it, change, go. You can breathe here, rest here. Keep going, right? So that's the first thing. Now, if you haven't practiced that, this is not the context for that. You're gonna switch on the floor. First thing. Second thing, if you're in the 10-15 minute world, consider muscling that. If you're not, do not muscle the rep. Muscling, it's easier mentally because it's less technical. It's gruntier. You can just disrespect that shit, right? It's a lot harder muscularly. So the little gain that you're gonna have in the first reps is gonna eat you alive in the last 10 minutes. And so that's why you don't wanna muscle. You really want to power. And again, that's gonna keep you very, very methodical, right? Like, so it's worth it to go. Powering is worth it to practice that. When this workout came out, 17.1, Elizabeth Akinwale, the awesome CrossFit athlete, schooled everybody about it. She's an awesome weightlifter, and after the first round, she's like, "Why are you idiots doing muscle snatches? That's like, you wouldn't do that in a workout that has a 95 barbell and has snatches on. You wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna muscle that. Why are you doing it with the dumbbell in a way that is similar?" Sure, Justin Madeiros and Quant can do that because that's 15% of their snatch. If this is 25% or more, you muscling snatch is just not smart. You're gonna just tire the extension, and when you're gonna go to the burpees, your arm is gonna be tired, right? And so, not the smartest way. It does require technique, it does require a lot more concentration, and so that's why we avoid it, right? And so that's hard. But I actually think, because of all the things that I said at the beginning, that this workout, having something to concentrate on other than how your heart rate is and how hard you're breathing, is actually very, very useful. So concentrating on technique is actually going to help you immensely. And if you think it for a second, this is a 20-minute workout in which that is going to reward efficiency of movement. We have been doing snatches for 100 years. And so we know that this most efficient way to snatch is by coming under. We don't need to go to full squat because we only need to go as much as low as the dumbbell is in this case, right? And so that is it. So I am a big proponent there of power snatching. If it's messing with you and you're not proficient at that, then take that into consideration. Of course, there's not one size fits all. But if you're proficient with dumbbell snatches, with dumbbell power snatches, that's what you should be doing. Don't muscle it up. And if you find yourself muscling up in the workout, you're rushing, you're panicking. Right? And so that's the last thing. Switch mid-air, fist on the hand that is not grabbing the bell. Here, right? Come switch. Here, come switch. Here, come switch. Here. Right? So that you don't get no reps. Have a loud dumbbell. I chose to have this dumbbell. Makes a big noise. I got a bunch of no reps when I was in it because the dumbbell didn't touch the ground. Both heads touch the ground. Bring it behind you, not in front of you, behind you. Here, you see where my bell is finishing? Behind me, there. So that when I stand, I have a lot of hips to throw that barbell up. I have a full video on how to cycle dumbbell snatches. I recommend you checking it. There's a whole discussion on how to receive it and so on. I don't want you to think too much for this workout. This is a go workout. And I think with what you have, what I have given you is more than enough. So that is it. Stay methodical. Have your number of steps. Set it up nicely. Use the warm-up of your round to find that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 for both movements. and then have ready what you're gonna tell your brain when the grit is needed. Have it ready. What are you gonna tell your brain? How are you gonna find that push? Because you're gonna need it. And if it's not ready, if you're in defeat mode, you're gonna be defeated. If you're like, I just wanted to be this person, that person already passed me, that's it. Grit is gone, right? And so, whatever it is your grit, find it, and it should be something that is there ready for you in your cookie jar. Give it a try, have fun, fucking kill it. Methodical grit crush.